Hi, friend. Okay, we're trying something new, as I do. Welcome to the Dinner Made Easy show. It is Grand Central Station here today. There are currently, Austin, Tyler, Ryan, Charlie, 2 of Charlie's friends, 1 of Tyler's friends, and there's 11 boys at my house right now. You might hear some of them leaving shortly, but it is total Grand Central Station here. I wouldn't have it any other way. This is how we summer, and I'm so glad that they're all hanging out together and having a good time. So today, the episode is all about pasta skillets. If you've never made a pasta skillet or you want to learn how to do this, this is a great cooking strategy. Once you know how to do this, then it's really easy to transfer this to other, using other ingredients, different types of recipes, but a pasta skillet is so great to have in your cooking repertoire. So we're going to cook that. I'm actually going to start browning the ground beef now because this is actually still a little bit frozen, which is actually good because you'll see how this cooks. And we are just going to get right to it, and I'm going to talk about this recipe. You can see the recipe there on the screen if you want to screenshot that. I'm just going to kind of be off to the side cooking this. I am going to break this up a little bit. The inside is still a little bit frozen. I had actually bought this to use last week, and then we all know the drama of last week. If you don't know, there's a post from last week about that. So this has been in the freezer and thawing in the fridge, and it didn't thaw all the way, but that is okay. You can still brown ground beef from partially frozen. It just takes a little tiny bit longer. So while we're waiting for that, I'm going to get all the other ingredients ready, and I will talk you through the rules, if you will, of a pasta skillet. So grab a screenshot of what you see there. That's the recipe. The recipe is also linked here on the video, and you can go check it out, print it, pin it, save it if you have a recipe binder or whatever. But this really is one of my go-tos for just need a quick, this is I see that Wednesday night I need something quick that I can have kind of cooked start to finish 15-20 minutes. This is perfect. So how this basically works is we're going to brown the ground beef. I generally use a leaner, like 90%, or even a lean 93 or 96, just so that I don't have to drain, okay? You don't have to do the leaner version. That's just my personal preference when doing pasta skillets like this. Okay. While this is browning, I'm going to add my ratio for browning ground beef, and that is a tablespoon of minced dried onion and a teaspoon of garlic powder. Okay, my friend Jonna is here. Good to see you again, my dear. You're making meatloaf. You know what? Sometimes you just gotta make meatloaf. I shared Instant Pot mashed potatoes because I love to make those, but man, in the summer I don't want to boil potatoes on the stovetop, so Instant Pot's a great alternative. Corn on the cob too. I like to do that in the Instant Pot. You could do meatloaf in the Instant Pot. Have you ever tried that? Okay. Hello, my friend Sally in New York. Let's see. So we're just browning this. This is 1 pound of ground beef with 1 tablespoon of minced dried onion and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. I just really like that onion and garlic ratio when browning, pretty much almost all the time when I brown ground beef. That's what I do. All right, so this is still frozen. If you're just joining, and you're like, why does that beef look like that? And I'm just kind of scraping it off as it cooks. And this requires a tiny bit of babysitting, but it's not that bad. If you've never cooked browned ground beef from frozen, this is basically how you do it. So I'm just going to let this sit for a minute and kind of talk you through what we're going to do next. So next what we're going to do is I need liquid. So this is, I'm going to add first thing you need to know is you need a skillet with a tight fitting lid. The lid is crucial on this one, okay? So you need a tight fitting lid. I should get mine out. Here we go. And for this one, I want to do a pound of small shell pasta. I recommend a small shell or a small elbow. I think that's kind of the better choice, if you will, for this. And I'm gonna need about 2.5 to 3 cups of liquid. 12 ounce, the recipe says 12 ounces is 2.25 cups. So I'm actually probably just gonna go ahead and make 3 cups for the 16 ounces. It's a little bit different from what's there. If you have a 12-ounce bag, use that, but this is a 16-ounce bag, so I'm just going to up the liquid a little bit, and I will give you the liquid rules here in just a minute. I'm just going to, again, requires a little bit more babysitting than I prefer with browning ground beef, but what can you do when it's been frozen? Nothing. That's all you can do. This right here. Okay. That'll be ready to break up in just a second. Okay, so what we're going to do next is I need to mix up this beef stock. So I usually use bouillon base to do this. Of course, you could just use a box or a can. So I need 3 cups. So I'm going to fill up this with hot water and then stir in the beef bouillon. And it'll actually probably fully incorporate once I get it into the skillet. But I'm going to get it started here in this measuring cup. I'm all about any money-saving pack, and so a bouillon base is definitely one of those things that I use and cook with often. I have made my own chicken stock many times, and beef stock with slow-cooked either whole chickens or like split chicken breasts, like what's that word? And I have found that this is just a good time-saving alternative to the bouillon base. So time and money. I will continue to make stock when I can, but this is my alternative that's both money and time-saving. Money-saving and convenient. How about that? Almost ready. Almost ready to break all this up. So after this, I'm going to pour in tomato sauce, a 15-ounce can of tomato sauce. You could also use crushed tomatoes. They'll just have a little bit more texture. Then I'm going to add in the spices. I'm going to add in the Italian seasoning. And then I will add in the beef broth, and then I'll pour the pasta in last, okay? So that's kind of the order of operations here. Again, I apologize if this ground beef is taking a little bit longer than I had planned. Such is life in the kitchen. Sorry about the spam, you guys. I don't know if I can ban. Let me see. I'm gonna try. There we go. I think that worked. All right, I know, I apologize. I don't know, all of a sudden about a month ago we started getting a lot of spam, which is really annoying. There we go. Almost all the way broken up. Now you know how to cook from ground beef from frozen. It just takes a little bit of babysitting. Okay, next, since I'm not going to drain this, and this is almost all the way cooked through, I'm going to just go ahead and add the tomato sauce and keep this going. I will probably do about a tablespoon of water in there just to get out that leftover sauce. So just add in a little water, give it a good swirl, and then you'll get a little bit more sauce out of the can. You don't have to dirty a scraper or spatula. All right, let me just stir this together. I'm going to turn the heat down to medium while I get everything else mixed in here. Next is going to be the spices. I'm going to add a little, you could do an Italian seasoning blend if you have that. If you don't have that, you could do a little oregano and basil. Thyme if you have that. Just, I would say 2 to 3 Italian seasonings, or Italian spices, sorry, is going to be good. Just to give it a little pop of flavor. I'm going to just add oregano and basil, because that's what I have right here. Let's see. And I think I'm actually going to, I think I could keep it. I might switch to a spoon. Hang on. I like this chopstick for the browning portion of all of this. Okay. So next, now that we have the tomatoes and the spices in there, I'm going to pour in this 3 cups. It's a little bit different from what you see on the recipe there because I am using more pasta than the recipe says. So the recipe says 2 1/4 cups with 12 ounces of pasta. I'm going to do 3 cups with 16. I don't think that math is exactly right, but I'll teach you the trick. All right, so now what we need to do, I'm going to turn the heat back up to high so this will come back to this. And I'm going to pour in the pasta. And then, sorry, my son needed something. Quick text. So I actually think this is going to be okay. So the rule here is you press all of the pasta into the liquid, and you need all the pasta to be underwater. There's going to be a little bit of a water layer here, okay? And we turn that heat back up to high. So you can see like there's really not any pasta sticking out. What you can see is like technically underwater. It's just right at the edge. So that's actually the perfect amount of liquid. If you need to add more, I would add maybe 1/4 cup of liquid at a time. So that way you don't get too much water. Now it's actually starting to bubble on the edges. So I'm going to cover it with a tight fitting lid here, and this is going to cook for 7-8 minutes. That small shell pasta doesn't take quite as long. It's thinner. It's not as a thicker pasta like a penne might take 9 to 11 minutes, but because of this is the thinner small shell pasta, it's really only going to take 6 to 7 minutes before you can remove this from the heat. Okay, so the first rule with a pasta skillet is to get it's a delicate water pasta ratio, but you want to get all the pasta underwater. So that's the first. The second is this sauce that it's cooking in is going to be smoking hot. And so so we don't, let's see, it's going to be smoking hot. We don't want the pasta to overcook, so we actually need to move the whole skillet off of the heat. So that's the second rule when you're cooking a pasta skillet like this. So there's not going to be any draining here. The pasta is going to continue to cook for a couple of minutes in this smoking hot sauce. And so you want to make sure to remove it from the heat after that 6 to 7 minute mark. So again, get all the pasta swimming underwater, cover it with a tight fitting lid, and then remove it from the heat after the 6 to 7 minute mark. And then it'll be ready to give it a stir. So I'm going to just tell you what happens afterwards, and then we'll be able to call this video, this Dinner Made Easy show, good to go. So what's going to happen is after 6 to 7 minutes, you can check to make sure that the pasta is cooked through. Of course, you can leave it on another minute or two if you need to. It's going to depend a little bit on the pasta that you use. So once it's cooked and you've removed it from the heat, you're just going to give it a good stir over, and it might be a little bit saucy. This is true if you're cooking pasta in the Instant Pot. We talked about that on last week's Dinner Made Easy show. This is also true for a pasta skillet. So if that's the case, don't fret. It shouldn't be like soupy, okay? If it's a little bit more liquidy than you thought it was gonna be, that's totally fine. Give it a good stir over. The sauce will thicken as it cools down a little bit, okay? So you're probably gonna need to let this sit for 5 to 10 minutes, maybe just 5. Or you could dish it immediately into bowls. It'll cool down faster if you dish it immediately into bowls. And then before you go to serve it, you're going to top with shredded cheese. So I probably will do about 1.5, maybe 2 cups of shredded cheese. And tonight I'm going to use a combination of mozzarella and cheddar just to make it colorful, just to make it just a little bit more delicious. I like combining cheeses like that. And so that's what we are going to do here. So this really is only going to be a couple more minutes. I'm just going to give you a quick peek. You can see the pasta is still all underwater. It's all soaking in all of that that good yummy beef broth that we put in there. Don't do this you should keep the lid on. Don't do as I say, not as I do. Is that what they say? Anyways, but this is a pasta skillet. There's so many different types of recipes and flavors. You can do a Tex-Mex. We have a really great twirly taco pasta skillet that's super delicious. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I feel like this ends up being my go-to because it's so easy and everybody loves it. It's good meat. It's super affordable. I know meat's expensive, really expensive right now. Marilyn had a great idea to get it at Costco. Costco is definitely a money-saving option for beef right now. You want to compare those prices at your store. I actually was in Costco this week, and the chicken price has gone up slightly, but the rotisserie chicken price is still the same. So if you're playing the meat sale game, definitely check out the warehouse stores that are near you. I love to do that too, Marilyn. I'll do 6 pounds of ground beef, and then I'll turn it into a full freezer meal. Or it's like the base of this. So I would freeze the ground beef, the ground beef, the tomato sauce, the Italian seasoning, all of that would be frozen in what I would call a meal starter, and then I could just reheat all that and throw in the pasta and broth. And that's a way to get everything going in the freezer when I'm doing a freezer meal prep like that. Here's Daisy. You guys say hi. She's like, I smell beef. I smell beef. So this will be done in just a couple minutes, and I'll remove it. Yeah, I can see the pasta has soaking up. That's not how you say that. Where are my grammar people? I'm not a grammar person. She wants to play ball. Did you see the ball roll by? I know, sister. Okay, so I'm going to let that go. Again, really quick recap. The recipe you can see is right there. It's also linked here on the video. The rules and guidelines for cooking a pasta skillet is to, cook the base meat. In this case, it's the ground beef. Then add any other flavors. Then we're going to add the liquid. Then we're going to add the pasta. The pasta needs to be completely swimming under the liquid, underwater. It needs to be fully submerged. And once that's done, then you cover tightly, cook for over medium-high heat for 6 to 7 minutes, maybe 9 to 11, depending on which shell you're using. I'm using a thinner, small shell, so I'm just doing a couple minutes here. Once it's done cooking, you could give it just a quick check of the pasta to make sure it doesn't need another minute or so. The ratio, liquid to pasta ratio is delicate, so is the time cooking delicate. You want it to be al dente now, and then you'll pull it off the heat, and it'll continue to cook for another minute or two as that sauce starts to cool down. Then you can sprinkle the cheese on top. The heat from the sauce will melt it, put it into bowls, and your dinner is ready to go. This took me a little longer than normal tonight because I was browning that ground beef from frozen. You learned that too. So that's what I got for you. That is Cheeseburger Pasta Skillet. It's one of our favorites. You should give it a try. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learn something new. That is my goal with the Dinner Made Easy show, is to teach you different cooking methods and strategies. We have all kinds of videos, years worth of videos of the Dinner Made Easy show and a number of other different things that we've done over the years. You can click on the videos tab here on the $5 Dinners Facebook page and check that out. All right, my friend, that is it for this week's episode of the Dinner Made Easy show. I don't know, my camera's crooked. Next week, I'll be back. We have Aaron Chase show on Tuesday. We have a new goodie to share with you on Wednesday. And then, of course, the Dinner Made Easy show is every Thursday, usually in the afternoon. I will set up events for these now, something new that we're doing so that you know when to expect. I need to look at my plan for next week to figure out the best times. But once I have that ready, I'll get those events posted here to the page. You can RSVP to the event, and then you'll get a notification when we're live. Of course, if you can't join me live, you can always catch the replay here on the page. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can catch the replays, of course, on YouTube, and check out the other videos that we have there on our channel. All right, that's it for this week's episode, my friend. It's bye for now, and we'll see you soon.